Ooh, you're touching the very part of me and making my soul say I'm crying out for more. 'Cause your love is scared. This is no blind faith. This is no sad and solitary. This is no blind faith. It's your love is real. Let it crown me with your heart. Your love is here, and we never ever need to part. Oh, touch me, I'm coming up, coming up. When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light I'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't shed tears, just as long as you stand by me. Oh, darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, darling, stand by me. Stand by me. If the sky we look upon should tumble and fall, or the mountains should it crumble to the sea, I won't cry, I won't cry. No, I won't shed tears, just as long as you stand by me. Oh, darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, darling, stand by me. Stand by me.
Stand by me by, oh, sorry. I think that song is quite aligned with the conversation of today, because I think the feedback I've been getting is quite interesting, really, especially since we sent out the flyer. I think this was a timely topic. But good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Grace Nzula, and I'm the host of Get It Right with Atara Solutions. Get It Right with Atara Solutions is a webinar series that seeks to demystify issues in employment and entrepreneurship. We do this every Tuesday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. and we discuss every matters that affect both employers and employees. And we are supported by a number of organizations, of course, Atara Solutions. Now, Atara Solutions is a HR consulting and training firm. We offer 4 types of services. We do recruitment and selection. We do HR manager outsourced. We do HR consulting, and also we do training, learning, and we offer learning and development services, where that includes coaching and team building services. So please get in touch with us for all your needs. As well, we are here with my co-host, and I will allow him to introduce himself, and then I will go on and give a shout out to our partners. Richard?
Grace, how are you doing? Moderator of Choice, how are you doing? I hope you've had a wonderful, wonderful day. Good to see you in good spirits. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Richard J. Magoma, also known as MC Positive Flavors. Tonight, we are going to learn about how do we transition from being colleagues to a place of elevated position. My specialties include learning and development, also team building, also, have I said training? I also write. I write for the Business Daily, but I'm excited tonight that I want to learn. After you go with somebody for lunch for a long time and then they become a manager, how do you relate after this? Over to you, moderator of choice.
Richard.
Hello. Hello. Looks like, Grace, your network is...
Oh, it's my network, yeah. Anyway, just go ahead. Have you finished?
Yes, I have, yes.
Oh, I apologize for that. I am very far from my usual place, but nonetheless. So allow me to quickly just give a shout out to our partners and also let you know what's coming up, because at Tara Solutions, we also organize learning events. And we want to thank you, all of you, for those who took part in last week's event with Kinyanjui. It was such an amazing session. You guys should not miss out if you did. So we have Pathway Solution Services. We have Nile Front Cottages. Nile Front Cottages is one of the most beautiful and serene places in Jinja, Kampala. For the Ugandans in the room, if you have not been to Jinja, if you are in Jinja and you have not visited the Nile Front Cottages, my friend, you're missing out. Please visit Nile Front Cottages. It's an amazing, amazing place. The sunsets and the sunrises there are just out of this world. And then we have Elsamere. Elsamere is here, located in Naivasha. Such a beautiful place. If you ever want to write a book, then Elsamere is one of the places that you need to go. If you want to take some quiet time, Elsamere again is the place to go. If you want to go with your loved one, bication, solocation, sistercation, brothercation, whatever cation you want to do, then you need to go to Elsamere. It's right in front of Lake Naivasha. It is also, you have a view of the lake from your room. It is so beautifully and nicely done. They also have a museum, so you don't have to worry about what you do the next day. You can do the museum. You can also enjoy just the quietness, and then just enjoy the serenity of being at Elsamere. And then we have Labor Planet. Labor Planet is into labor outsourcing. If you're looking to outsource your casuals, then Labor Planet will be your people. We have Steadfast Quality Solutions. Steadfast Quality Solutions is an organization that does human resources, public relations consulting. It is located in Kampala, Uganda. This organization is headed by my good friend Herbert Zake. Now, if you're here and you're looking to have your board of directors trained or your board of directors evaluated, they offer board trainings and board evaluation services. However, my good friend Zake is a coach. He's a Gallup certified strength coach, and he has coached over 500 executives. So my good friends, if you're looking for a coach, then Herbert Zake is also an amazing person. For those from across the continent, then Herbert Zake is an amazing person. Thank you for partnering with us. We have K-Square HR Services. K-Square HR Services is our partner in Kigali, in Rwanda. If you're looking to get HR services in Kigali, Rwanda, then you need to get in touch with K-Square Services, headed, of course, by Mr. Stephen Karangwa with his partners. If you're looking to get trained in Rwanda, then K-Square Services are amazing at that. And we have Essence Park, we have Kapula Mintito, we have Panessa Training Institute, we have Wicklin, and then we have Profiles International. Profiles International is the only person in the Eastern, or rather in Africa, who offer Genius certified emotional intelligence. So if you want to become an emotional intelligence coach, then Profiles International would be the best bet for you. I'm actually in class as we speak, and it's one of the most amazing lessons I've had to take in my entire life. I am loving the lessons. They're impacting me personally, and also me as a leader and me as a practitioner. So please take advantage and become a Genius Emotional Intelligence coach. You will get to learn a lot. The advantages are immense, I tell you. That is by Profiles International. You can check them out. And then we have good news for the people of Mombasa. We are bringing tea to you. Let's Have Tea Pwani edition is happening on the 13th of September. That is on a Friday. Please save the date, mark your calendars. We want you to come one, come all. This is going to be an interactive session. It's going to be a networking session. Just going to be an amazing learning session for all of us. We will be there, the entire team from Atara Solutions. Come and meet us, come and interact with us, come and network with us, come and let us learn together. Now, I'll tell you what, you know we don't go wrong with our quality of trainings. So please do not miss this out. More details will be released by the end of the week in terms of the location and how much the charges will be. But please, please, please save the date, 13th September. We will be in Pwani for a tea or for a conversation over a cup of tea on 13th September. On Friday, 13th September 2024, and we'll share more details very soon. The Nairobians, this is an opportunity, an excuse for you to go down to Mombasa. For those who are in Nakuru and other places, please join us. This is an amazing experience for you. Let's Have Tea Pwani edition. Save the date, 13th September, Friday, 2024, and more details will be coming your way. So thank you very much. So tonight we are going to be discussing this amazing topic. I had no idea that it was going to be it is such a pain for a lot of people, but it's really good that we are having this conversation and that we can make it interactive. Please make sure that you post your questions on the Q&A to make Richard's work easier so that we are able to pick. My network is not very stable, so my co-host will be doing most of the work. However, I am happy to introduce my colleague. She's one of us at Atara Solutions, Madam CHRP, Anne Wamonje. Anne Wamonje is a certified human resource practitioner. She's actually taking PhD in HR. Please catch me dead doing that one. However, I am amazed to have such an amazing. And somebody is asking, where is Catherine today? Unfortunately, Catherine is traveling. She wasn't able to join us today, and we will have her next week. Today, unfortunately, she's unavailable. Thank you, Peggy, for noticing. Yes, so my colleague Anne will be taking us through this amazing session. Anne is a friend to Richard and a colleague to me and also a friend. And we are fortunate to have you here today. And Anne, I know we have been in our consultancy, we have met these questions 1,000,001 times. And I know Richard as a coach has experienced it, and all the people tuned in here today have experienced from both angles. From the promoted side, you know, Richard has been promoted. Richard was my friend. How do I behave around Richard is a question. And how does Richard behave around me is another concern. So, Anne, please tell us, how do we navigate this transition?
Okay. Thank you so much, Grace. Good evening, everybody. I hope you've all had a lovely day. As Grace has said, my name is Anne Wamonje. I'm a certified HR professional, and I work with Atara Solutions as a consultant. I currently head the projects at Atara Solutions. So as we begin, I would like to just share my screen so that we can keep up with what I am saying. So just a second. Yes. Richard, please confirm you guys can see my screen.
Yes, we can, and only you can enlarge it so that we are able to see it broadly.
All right.
Good.
And then this one. Okay. All right. So today we'll be discussing the topic around how do you navigate, or rather, how do you transition from being a colleague to a manager Or in another interpretation, we can say, how do you transition from being just a regular employee and then all of a sudden you become a boss, and then you have all these people that you have been friends with for over time and you have gossiped together over that period, and now you have to lead the team. So there's generally a lot of things that happen during that transition, and I know that for people who have experienced this, it has not been the smoothest of the transitions. So we would like to just provide a bit of guidance as to how to move from A to the next step. About me, as I have said, I'm a certified HR practitioner in Kenya, and I am a HR consultant, a trainer, and an award-winning mentor. Richard can tell you about that mentorship thing. Also, as I had mentioned, I'm in charge of projects at Atara Solutions. I'm also very serious about fitness. So I'm a fitness enthusiast, and I consider myself a blogger and a writer, and my blog is on the screen. It's Human Resource. It's spelled in another way, but that is where I do a lot of my writing. So for those who visited the site, I know they've learned one or two things. So moving on to the subject for today. So the congratulations have come, you have received your promotion, the letter has come from the HR, the announcement has been done by the CEO. Now the question is, what next? And that is where the rubber now starts the road, because you have worked so hard. And I am speaking for those who have really qualified for that position and they know that they have earned that promotion. So how do we transition to the next step? How do I move from being just a regular employee to now leading a team? Or I was a HR officer or a HR assistant, and suddenly I am now managing the entire department with the rest of the HR team members that I have been working with. So what are some of the feelings that you experience as you receive or you get the promotion? One, there's generally a sense of pride. Everybody is proud of that because it is an achievement. You consider it an accomplishment. And of course, you feel good about it because, again, it ties to the next feeling, is somebody is finally recognizing the work that you have put in and the experience that you have and your competencies. And now they're saying, we have decided to move you to the next stage of your career. So there's that excitement. But then again, when the dust has settled, there comes a certain kind of fear that we experience in terms of, will I succeed in this role or will I fail? Everybody wants to succeed. Everybody wants to prove that they are better than than the person that they are right now. So in the silence of your thoughts, you will always be wondering, what if I don't succeed in this? So there's that imposter syndrome that comes in with a promotion that every one of us, no matter how confident you are, you struggle with silently, and it is okay. It is a natural feeling that we have. So, it is what it is. So the other bit is that whenever you receive a promotion, there are expectations from a lot of people or different parties with regards to what happens next. And one, your employer has expectations because the reason they have moved you to the next position or the higher role is because they believe that you have the competencies and the skills to be able to deliver. So they are expecting a certain standard of service delivery from you. And that cannot be undermined. Otherwise, if they wanted to maintain a status quo, they wouldn't have made that promotion. Number two, as an individual, you have your own personal expectations from yourself. And I think of all these expectations, if you are a perfectionist like me, the personal expectations are usually the ones that come out heavier than even the company or the peer or the colleague expectations, because you are trying to prove to yourself that, I earned this thing, I deserve this thing, I can do this. So then you have the peers and the colleagues. And I want to also add friends. These are the regular guys that you have worked with every day. You meet in town, you board a matatu, in the evening you walk to town or you walk to the bus stop. On Fridays, you hang out in your favorite joint and you gossip about the HR and how they're making your life miserable. Then all of a sudden, you are the one who is the HR. So, so what happens from that point? So, in terms of personal expectations, you expect yourself to be successful in that role. No questions asked. Nobody takes up a promotion so that they can fail. Because with a promotion, you are exposed. If you are hiding behind other people as a junior staff, the moment now you are put up there on top and you are the one who is overseeing the rest of these people, there is exposure. And it is time for you to be able to prove yourself. So the first expectation is I will succeed in this. Secondly, you are expecting as an individual that the management will support me. Whether that is true or not is left to determination as time goes by. But the expectation here is that the management will give me the kind of support that I require in terms of the tools and the resources and even the people that I need to succeed in this role. Sometimes I know there have been instances where somebody is put in a promotion, in a higher position, not because the company or the management or whoever is in charge there wants them to succeed, but they are setting them up to fail. And that is where you find promotions are done. And you find this individual who came in at, say, they were hired as a procurement clerk. And because they have been very useful and handy whenever they are required, all of a sudden they have been moved to become the HR officer. That promotion, this person does not have the skills or the competencies for the role. And by them accepting that promotion, they have set themselves up to failing. The management has set them up to fail because there are certain basic skills that you must have and training for you to take up that extra role, or rather that higher role. Then the other expectation that you have is there will be support. And I want to say resistance. You must be able to have this at the back of your mind. There will be resistance from the team, because the question that some of your team members will be asking is, but she has been just one of us here. Every time you make a critical decision, somebody will be asking, who the hell does she think she is? She was just one of us here yesterday. So what is she telling us? But then there's also support that comes from the peers and the colleagues and the friends that you have that is going to propel you to succeed in that role. So then on the peer side, once you are promoted, you know, there are mixed feelings that come with this. So people are expecting that the work environment will improve now that Anne has become our HR manager. She's going to be our savior, or she's going to make things better. But then there are others at the back there that are thinking, all right, now let's get ready. We need to tie our seatbelts because it is about to go down. So that expectation is there. Then for your friends, there will be favors that now, because we've been hanging out in our favorite joint every Friday. So, and we've been talking about a lot of stuff. Your friends will be expecting that favors will now just drop from the sky because my friend is now the HR. What can you tell me? So I can get away with a lot of things. Others on the friendship side, they would expect the end of your relationship because ideally you would not relate the same way you used to if you are the same way you are when you were just colleagues and friends, and now you are their boss. I mean, the boundaries are, I mean, the thin red line is already there. So some of them will expect their relationship to end and now to transition it just to people who will expect you to fail. There are those who are also expecting you to fail. So you have to keep that at the back of your mind because they cannot believe that Anne actually moved from a HR officer to a HR manager. How? So those are some of the expectations from the peers. So then you have gotten the promotion, and when the promotion comes, there's a lot of excitement and there's a lot of stuff that happens around you because you have to behave. you have to change the way you think, you have to change the way you behave. There is a resistance that we have talked about here. You have people who have embraced you that we've also talked about. Then we have people who also want to test you. And for HR people, I know most of you understand this. There are people who come to ask certain things so that they know your train of thought, so that they can use that against you and compromise you. And once you are compromised as a HR, you know your hands are tied. And there are certain decisions that you cannot make against certain people. So even during promotion, you have to transition to, you have to adapt to new things. There are changes that happen. There are learning experiences that need to take place. There are new situations that you never used to deal with before that now sit squarely on your table. Before, when an employee brought in a problem that was challenging, you would tell them, let me discuss with the HR manager and then I will get back to you. Now the time has come when the only HR manager you need to discuss with is yourself and make a decision. So what happens? First of all, once you receive the promotion, you need to celebrate that. A lot of us don't celebrate achievements. It's like, yeah, it has just happened. So, but you have to realize that this is a big step in your career as a person, and it is not something that happens every day. A lot of people have worked in companies for 10 years, for 15 years, in the same position. So that you have been promoted is something that is worth celebrating. I will not tell you how to celebrate it. You know what you like, the things you like to do. So do them and just celebrate what you have accomplished. Number 2, you must be clear on your responsibilities and deliverables. And I talked about the instance where sometimes you have been set up to fail because you have been put in a position where you do not have the skills and the competencies. And number 2, also, you see the way it's called gentleman agreement, where you are told, okay, and from tomorrow you are now the supervisor of the team. Congratulations. And we move on. So this person has not told you, now as a supervisor, what am I going to be doing? What are my responsibilities? And what will success look like in this role? And I think sometimes even as individuals, out of the excitement that we have for receiving the letter, we forget to think about the responsibilities part and the deliverables and the clarity on that area, because your success or failure in this role is partly going to be as a result of the clarity that you have in terms of what is expected of me. What you are doing as an HR assistant is not going to be similar to what you are doing as a HR manager. So be clear with the person that you are reporting to in terms of your responsibilities, and these are my deliverables. And when we are doing my appraisals, this is what we will be looking at. Then also number 3, you need to do an audit of wherever you have moved to. And this ties to the next point that I'm talking about, don't dive in head first. Why do you need to do an audit? Sometimes we get so excited when we have the power, because promotion comes with power, that now we say, you see the way we used to say in high school, that once I get my national ID, I can now do whatever I want. And you realize right now you have been carrying that ID for the last 20 years and you still cannot do what you want. It is the same thing. Once you test the power that comes with the position, you want to move things around. And you are moving this there, you are saying now, it is my chance to get back at Richard. The way he has frustrated me, I can now fire them. See, I'm the HR manager. You need to be very careful. Look at the department, do a formal and an informal audit and find out the existing structures that are there. Because as an assistant or as a HR officer, you probably did not have an overview of what is happening at the top. But now you sit there. The responsibility and you have to answer to that department fully. And I can tell you, as a matter of fact, even the people that you now find yourself at the same level with they might not embrace you the way you think. So the audit here is very important. You learn the people that you're now working with, the people that you're now on the same level with, the structures that are now within this new position, what is working, what is not working. You find that there are some times when you're promoted, and the second day of your promotion, the boss comes in and tells you, I want you to fire 1, 2, 3, 4 people. And you, in your own wisdom, you decide, yes, I am going to fire them because the boss has said so. But then you have not done any background checks or anything to find reasons, like valid reasons as to why this person needs to go. So you fired them, they have left. 2 weeks down the line, the plumbing system is not working. But the plumber that was doing this job has been doing this job for the last 3 years. You just fired them 2 weeks ago because you said, but they no longer add any value to this company. So they can go. And now the whole building is full of stench and nobody can sit in the office again. So the purpose of this audit is for you to establish what is working and what is not working, because that will be able to give you a background of what you need to change, what you need to improve on, what you need to let be. Then the other bit about the transition is about defining boundaries. Anne and Grace have been hanging out at Njuguna's every Friday. And you know, when you are hanging out at Njuguna's, we are drinking, and our drunken conversations and our office conversations, you know, they are not the same. And I have also been able to disclose certain personal information about me to Grace. So now I am Grace's boss. You know, we can no longer have that kind of arrangement, that we are very free to have those kinds of conversations, because trust me, and I speak to the HR people here, whatever you do, at the end of the day, there is always going to be that one time where you and your friend have been pit against each other professionally. There will be that problem that comes in, and you have assessed all the facts that have been presented, and when you look at it, you can see this one, the mistake is on this person's side. So what happens in a scenario where you are too close as friends? Are you able to handle a case like that? Obviously not, because of conflict of interest. And your objectivity has been compromised at that point. So you need to define the boundaries with your friends, with your peers, so that they can understand that, yes, I am still Anne, but you also need to understand that right now my role is that of a HR manager, and there are certain expectations that I have of you guys and that you guys have of me. And we have to have those, you know, those boundaries have to be very clear. When I am talking to you as Anne, the HR manager, and I am talking to you as Anne, your friend, there has to be a differentiation there. Also, when it comes to communication, don't rely on assumptions. And let me tell you, it is very lonely at the top. Everybody wants to get to the top, and once you get there, they say in geography that the higher you go, the cooler it becomes. At work, the higher you go, the colder it becomes. It is not cool. It is very cold. So you need to rely on communication, and you need to do this communication very effectively in terms of, if you are giving instructions, let those instructions be very clear, and they need to be formal, so that tomorrow somebody does not come back and tell you that, I thought it was just a joke. You know, the way we used to joke. No, we are no longer joking. I sent you an email and I asked you to do 1, 2, 3, 4. I need that done. So communicating here is, the communication aspect here has to be very clear in terms of, how do you talk about formal stuff? We are doing emails. If WhatsApp is another formal communication channel, we do that. Whatever approved communication channels that you have within the company are, that you need to leverage on that. Also, as you are navigating through this, you also need to keep learning and ask questions. Normally, when we get promoted, you know, like I have said, promotion means there's power that has come here. So now you are the all-knowing, all able to do, and you do not want to ask anybody any questions because they will think you don't know what you are doing. You do not want to ask for help because they will think you are weak. Trust me, with a promotion comes a lot of stress because there are now responsibilities that have been added to you that you never had before. And everybody is looking up to you now. So it means if you don't understand, ask questions very clearly. Also, you need to figure out a way to be able to learn new things, because what got you into that promotion will not move you to the next, and I'm afraid it won't keep you there. So you need to keep learning so that you can reinvent yourself all the time. And then there is the aspect of consistency. You need to be very consistent. And what do I mean by consistent? If you say no to this, you need to have that no remain as consistent with every other person and not change goalposts, because now, the last time I said no to Anne's request, and now Richard has come, I am saying yes to the same request that Anne had asked. Why? Because Richard and I are friends, or used to be friends before I was promoted. That is going to show biasness or favoritism. So consistency in terms of your decisions, in terms of how you behave, and behavior here is very important once you have received a promotion. And I think we don't look at this so much, and you start to think, I can still maintain the same way I used to be. You know, nothing has changed. Trust me, everything has changed, and you must change with that everything. So your behavior is now going to be watched very keenly, because they say you lead by example. The people behind you or under you are going to be looking at how Anne is behaving as our HR managers. If Anne is the one that is receiving bribes from candidates so that they can be recruited, then even us at the bottom, I mean, what is stopping us from asking people for money before we hire them? So consistency in terms of your action, then manage your time and stress. I have said that with the promotion comes a lot of responsibilities, additional responsibilities, and additional expectations. Then, without the promotion, you are still a person who is a whole human being by yourself, with needs and expectations of yourself outside of work. And then you have a family, or you have other friends out there who also have expectations of you, and you have to find time for all of these sides of yourself. That is why you hear a lot of people saying adulting is a scam, because there's just so much going on at the same time that you do not know whether 24 hours is enough, or even whether you are enough for the 24 hours, because it is a lot. So mix that with a promotion and with the additional responsibilities and expectations. You need to be very intentional about your time, what you spend your time on, how you prioritize your work, what is urgent, what is important and urgent, you know, stuff like that, so that you are able to know, what can I do in the morning, what can I do during the day and in the evening. And sometimes some of these higher roles require you to be in a lot of meetings, and you are constantly in meetings. But then, you know, whether you're in meetings or not, there are other people down here who are still expecting you to respond to their emails. They want their emails to find you well. You are not well. So how do you manage that? You need to be able to think through managing your time and stress. Then assert yourself. Because you have been a colleague, you have just been one of us, and now you have been promoted, there is the imposter syndrome that I was talking about. There is a tendency to want to sit back and not take very hard decisions and just say, okay, I will hurt so and so if I take that decision. So let me not say anything. The sina maoni people. As the HR manager, lazima ukuwe na maoni. You have to have an opinion. And unfortunately, your opinion is the opinion of the company most of the time. So whether that opinion is right or wrong, the HR said it. So it means that is what the company has decided. So once you receive your promotion, you have to position yourself, see yourself in that position. Stop seeing yourself as the officer that you used to be 3 days ago. You are now the manager. When you walk into that office in the morning, if you have to whisper to yourself silently and remind yourself, I am the HR manager. These are the expectations of me. You need to do that. Otherwise, if you still sit back and continue to behave like your old self, then you might not really fit into that role after all. So make sure that by asserting yourself here, you're not trying to be authoritative, or you're trying to make up people's lives miserable, or you're trying to have people remember that you are now the HR manager. No, you are simply just communicating that, please note that this is my new position, and these are the expectations that you guys have of me, and this company has of me, and this is my decision. These are going to be my decisions every single time. Sometimes you will like them, sometimes you will not like them, but it is what it is. Then there's the aspect of seeking feedback. Feedback is very critical, because once you come in, like we said, there are lots of expectations. So feedback here is so critical, because with feedback, that is where you'll be able to know whether you're doing well or you're not doing well. And trust me, some of this feedback is going to be very harsh. Some of them will be very objective. Others will just be meant to kill your vibe. So, but feedback is feedback. If you have been promoted and every time you ask people to give their feedback and they are quiet and they are just okay and hatuna maoni, there's a problem. So figure out a way to get feedback from people. And as you get feedback, you need to be able to accept constructive criticism. You know, sometimes people tell us, give us their own very honest feedback about things that we have done or what we have not done. And we are just like, Grace does not like me. I have known it that she is jealous of this thing ever since I have been promoted, the way she's been looking at me. But from Grace's point of view, she is just trying to let you know that, you know, and you can improve on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So accept constructive criticism and work on that. Number 2, also on the same point, when you take up a new role, there is bound to be a lot of mistakes coming from you. If you are going up there thinking that now you are going to perfect everything, trust me, the reality on the ground is very different, because there are a lot of things that are outside of your control. And because you're working with human beings, they are bound to shock you. So learn from your mistakes. Once you have made those mistakes, own them. The other point about us, sometimes when we are up there, is that when mistakes happen, we pretend. And then we pass the buck to somebody else and we start saying it was so-and-so's fault. The buck stops with you as the head of department. If the HR officer is not doing what is supposed to be done, the CEO is not going to be asking the HR officer. The CEO is going to be coming to ask the HR manager, why is your department like this? So learn from those mistakes and see what you can be able to do to correct them. The first time it happens, you will be forgiven. You might be forgiven depending on the magnitude of that mistake. But is it something that you want to continue doing? Because if you repeat it 3 times, then I don't know. It is bound to get late for you. Then the other bit about this, navigating this whole process is mentoring your subordinates. Sometimes when we get to the top position, we become a me kind of individual. And now we start to look out for our interests only. The rest of the people can go to hell for all you care. But the point is that your success in that role is largely dependent on the people that are working under you. Do not ever think that the CEO succeeds by themselves. The CEO succeeds because the people that have been assigned down there are doing what needs to be done. The CEO will only get up to receive the award, and they will provide the strategic direction for the company and all that kind of stuff. However, there are people who are doing the donkey work down there. Those people, you need to mentor them. Stop having the mentality that, you know, if I teach Anne to learn something new, or if I teach them that skill or whatever, they will be able to top up me. And I know that is the fear that comes with mentorship and with working with people below you. But at the end of the day, your success in the new role is largely dependent on the people that work with you. So that is why mentorship is important. And also, you must understand that a time will come when you will not be available for reasons that you can control or those that you cannot control. The question here is, if Anne is not there for 1 week, what happens? Do I have to come back to a whole pile of work because the person that is under me did not have the capacity to do what I do to a certain degree? So that is why also, as you think about working with the people under you, the mentorship bit is critical. And then now, there's the bit about personal relationships. And this is critical in this presentation because we have talked about how do you transition generally when you are colleagues on the same level and suddenly you get promoted. But then now there are instances where this promotion affects you directly with somebody or some people that you are very close with in terms of friendships. And unfortunately, or do I say fortunately, however you choose to interpret that, sometimes when a husband and a wife are working in the same organization and then the wife gets promoted, and now the husband might not necessarily have to report to the wife directly, wife in the context of their relationship, you know, at work they are not husband and wife yet. The husband may not have to report to the wife directly, but the wife is still the senior. So it means that they are in a position to give certain instructions, and people must follow those instructions, including the person that she is married to. This is an ego test. It happens though. However, if a scenario like that happens, let's say it's not a marriage kind of relationship, just normal friendships at work, how do you manage your personal relationships once you have been promoted? We used to be friends, we used to hang out, we have been going to Korogo Festival together, we have been hanging out, our families even know each other, stuff like that. And now I am your boss. First, on my end, it is very important as your boss to define our relationship so that we understand very clearly that when we are at work as your boss, I will be able to give you instructions. It is my duty to give you instructions, and it is yours to follow those instructions. No questions asked in terms of, but I thought we were friends. You're at work, it is work. And when you are outside work and in other forms of engagement or interactions, you are friends. It doesn't stop you from being friends within the work setup, but it has to be understood very clearly that your relationship in the office is professional. Then number two, also, you need to be very upfront with your friends on the potential changes. There is not, or rather, to think that things will remain the same or our friendship will remain the same at work after I am promoted. It's a lie. And if somebody sells that to you, then you need to reject it. It will change. Your relationship must change. There are certain things that you can no longer talk about at work because the playing field is no longer leveled. So you have to be upfront with your friends on the potential changes that could happen, or rather not could, but will happen in your relationship. If you are found in a disciplinary issue, it will be brought to my attention, not as your friend, but as your HR manager. And I will make certain decisions, or I will be able to instruct somebody else to do what needs to be done. You know, things like that. Then number 3, there is the bit about maintaining impartiality, especially if your friends report to you. Why is that? Because the thing is this, if regardless of what decision that you make at the end of the day, and I am going to speak about, especially when it comes to any grievance handling or even disciplinary or whatever, one party is not always going to be happy. But then when this decision is made and there is a conflicting relationship in between, then the unhappy party is even unhappier, because now they will be thinking that you did what you did, or you made the decision that you made because you're friends with that other person. And that's why sometimes for HR people, and even for you, whether you're working in HR or not, if you are to handle certain scenarios and it involves somebody that you're very close to at work as a friend, you need to remove yourself from that situation and have it assigned to somebody else. Because at the end of the day, your decision can be used against you. So even in this scenario, impartiality is very important for you to come out very clearly. And every time an issue happens or something is brought to your attention, you need to be able to be as objective as you possibly can when addressing it. Now, that is on my end as the new boss. But you, because the responsibility lies on both sides. There is the boss who has been promoted, and then there's you that now report to me. What happens? You need to talk about it. And don't just assume that because Anne has been promoted, we'll just continue the way we have been. Just talk about it. And going back to what I had talked about in terms of defining the relationship and just understanding what are the boundaries here, what can I or cannot do at certain times at work and whatnot, and stuff like that. We are not trying to change you who you are or anything like that. We are simply just trying to understand and align with the new adjustments that have come in and that we have found ourselves in. Then you must also understand as an individual that things will change. And you have to accept this. Because if you're still hoping that Anne will be the same Anne that we have known for the last 3 years, it is a lie. So understand that things will change in your relationship as friends, and see what you can do about it. Then you need to learn to balance your friendship and professionalism so that you know when we are joking and when we are not joking. Because I know, even as friends, I'm saying that we will not always be too serious in the office every day. I mean, once in a while it happens, but we need to know there is friendship and then there's professionalism, so that when a decision is being made, you don't take it so personally and say that my friend did that to me. No, that was not your friend who did that. That was the HR manager that made that decision. Your friend is on personal things. Then, as a friend, you need to support the success of your newly promoted friend and check on the excessive flattery. Because we are friends now, every time I do something, you're like, yeah, that's cool, that's nice, da 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 da. If it is wrong, just come out and tell me, like every other employee will do. To tell me, we say calling somebody out, just tell me. And it goes back to the point that I talked about feedback. So that you do not appear to be looking to be on my good books. Because at the end of the day, as a friend, I would want you to be happy for me and my promotion and to support me and to let me succeed. Whether that is true in action or not is left to discussion. But I would like you to support me. So as the friend to the newly promoted person, support their success and check on the flattery bit. Now, as I conclude on this presentation, I would want to emphasize that with a promotion comes a lot of change, and there's growth there in the promotion. And with growth, like every other thing that tries to grow, you do not grow on a straight line most of the time. It's bent and there's just so many wheels or parts that are moving together. And it requires a bit, or rather a lot of learning and a lot of readjustment in terms of your thought process, in terms of just trying to be a better version of the person that you used to be. So I would recommend that as you need to join a professional network or community, people of the same career or the area of your specialty, so that you can also get to learn from them. How are things done? I know for HR people, you have hundreds of HR groups that people ask questions and learn and what not. And even for other professions, I know those ones are there. But join a community where you can be, or a network where you can be able to learn and network, and not just, they say a ship moves in the same direction, like ship condor. They don't like to look sideways. So don't be a ship. Make sure that you are learning best practice and you are learning how to do things better for your organization. And remember, the success of in your role is largely dependent on the people that you work with. So treat them nicely and professionally. And by nicely here, I am not saying you treat them with golden gloves or you handle them with, just try to be a good person or a good human being. And that would be it from my end. And thank you so much. I am open to questions. I am open to your contributions. I'm open to listening to your experiences. And let's get the conversation going. Over to you, Richard or Grace.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anne. Thank you so much for that wonderful, incisive, informative, thought-provocative engagement that you have had with us. I have two questions to start with. One of the questions is from Jen. In an instance where you are promoted and your academic achievements are not equal to that position, probably, how do you manage this? You do not have the academic qualification to be that position, but you have been promoted nevertheless. How do you navigate? The other related question is from Khadija Ndalo. You were the junior person in that setting, but you have been promoted over your superiors. How do you navigate through these very touchy and tough processes of becoming a manager?
All right. Now, because the two questions are closely related, one thing you have to understand, if the promotion is genuine, the reason why you have been promoted is because most of the time, 99% of the time, is because the company has seen something in you that they think that they can be able to use to get to the next level. So that promotion is earned. If you did not pay money for that promotion, that thing is earned and you have to own it. And all these two things, they start from owning the promotion. You have to see yourself as that person that is new, that has been promoted now. That is the starting point. Because if you still keep seeing yourself as the diploma holder and that other person is a master's degree holder, one thing has nothing to do with the other. I will tell you 1,000 times, there are people who have degrees, very nice first class certificates, and I am as a first class holder, I take academics very seriously. But when it comes down to doing the work, that is where they draw the line. But here you are with your diploma, and you have broken your back for the last 2 years for the company, and they have seen that, hey, anyway, Richard can be able to take up this position. So feel confident of that promotion, number one. And remember that you have earned it. Then number two, academically, you now need to start thinking about how can I upskill myself so that you're not doing it so that you can get to the level of the other people or the managers or the what. You are doing it for yourself, because every time you want to do it because you want to get to the other people's levels, you have, I mean, there's a challenge there. You have to do it for yourself and for your career growth and for where you see yourself moving on to. So that is very important. So think about on the position, upskill yourself. And like I said, you see that community or network that you joined, it has to be a network that is useful. Not those ones where the only time the group is active is when somebody has died and you're contributing money for funerals. You have to be joining a group that people are discussing substantive things that can be able to elevate you and grow you to the next level. Now, going on to the next question about how do I navigate? Yes, please.
If I can add on that, leadership skills have nothing to do with academic background, but leadership is an action. So
Yes.
when you get into leadership positions, you also need to invest in your leadership skill to keep that position. So sometimes it's not really the papers that offer promotion, it's the character, the skill, the attributes, and the willingness to do the work. That is what makes a difference. I think I just wanted to add that. And there was a question on when your leadership includes leading your former superiors. Maybe you can also take that.
Yes, that's where I was going on to next. And thank you so much, Grace, for adding that. Academic papers have nothing to do with your ability to do the job. And that has been proven time and time again. So if the company has seen your leadership and your ability, then you need to be able to be confident in that and work with that. Then the rest now you can be able to add as you move forward. Then now, in terms of you are the junior and now you are the one that is leading your superiors. Remember the time when I talked about resistance? You have to remember that there is going to be resistance because one, the people that you're now leading, what they are thinking sometimes or most times would be, but she was just the cleaner yesterday. What is she telling us? And it comes down back again to the ownership and the assertiveness that I discussed when I was making my presentation. You need to see yourself in that position and assert yourself. You're not being rude. You are just telling the people, you know, things have changed. You know, these are the new expectations. These are the things I would like you guys to do. And slowly, they will be able to buy into that or not. And if you find too much resistance, then there is always the room for asking for help from the other people or other senior people that could be able to assist you. But in the meantime, you have to be able to manage these people to the point where they can understand that there has been a shift and you're not doing it in a rude way to show them that now I have the power. No, you're just simply telling them, these are the things that need to be done. And this is what I would like you and you and you and you to do. I think that would be my approach. But do not involve yourself in exchanging words or name calling or trying to prove that, you know, I was junior and now I am senior. That is the wrong approach. Once you get to that level, then that is the one we call stooping so low. If you stoop that low, then it provides room for manipulation. So do not let yourself get down there. Stay on top. Michelle Obama said, when they go low, yeah, stay up there. Richard.
Thank you so much, Anne, for that response. One of the things that I could like to ask you, I have had occasion for the last 2 weeks to train certain organizations on emotional intelligence. And my good friend Grace has mentioned the role of intense application of emotional intelligence. What is the role of emotional intelligence in this instance? Because it's very, very important.
Now, the role of emotional intelligence in this instance. Emotional intelligence helps you in a lot of things. It helps you to read the mood. It helps you to read the people. It helps you to read yourself. And with that, it helps you to know what decisions can I be able to make now and what can wait for later, what is urgent, what needs to be responded to immediately, and stuff like that. Because emotional intelligence is going to help you to not be reactive, but be somebody who is responsive. If you lack emotional intelligence, you will be reacting to every little thing. And when it comes to promotion, there's a lot of people, or rather there are a lot of people who may try to provoke you so that they see or test where, you know, your levels of stress or whatever you want to call it are. It is the emotional intelligence bit that is going to guide you or assist you in knowing how to be responsive as opposed to being reactive. Because the moment you are a leader who keeps on reacting to situations, then you find yourself in scenarios where you keep on fighting fires. But then if you are responsive, then you can be able to think through certain things before you finally make a decision. You know, I have looked at the pros and the cons. I have looked at option A, B, C, D, E. And if what this fails, we can move on to this plan of action. So you are not responding to emails or to communication emotionally, but you are being critical in your thinking and you are responding with facts and with solutions or options. Richard.
Thank you so much for that response. There's a question by Jessica Otieno. How do you deal with resistant juniors? Because it's a moment for change and you discover that there is a lot of resistance towards your promotion. How do you effectively deal with this problem?
First of all, you have to expect that resistance. That is number one. If you walk into a new role and you are expecting merry celebrations, then you have to manage your expectations. The celebrations end by the time the last sip of champagne has been taken and the cake has been cut. The celebrations have ended. Now it's time to get to work. So do not stay on the celebrations too long and imagine that everybody who came to your party was very happy. Now, coming on to how do I handle resistance? First, it comes down to your ability to communicate with your team. Of course, as you start, there is going to be hitches here and there because there are people who are also questioning your authority. They are testing your patience. They're trying to see whether, you know, what can she do anyway? That kind of feeling or that kind of thought process. So the communication and the clarity from you in terms of communication is very important. That is number one. If you are giving instructions, they have to be very clear. And you do not give general instructions. You are giving them to an individual and you're saying, I am assigning Richard this and Jen that and Grace that. So that when it comes to accountability, you are holding an individual accountable. That is number one. Number two, it is your duty to try and win over the team. I am not saying you will buy them pancakes in the morning, but how are you listening to their opinions? Because their opinions count a lot here. And sometimes as a leader, you will find that there are things that you will be forced to listen to, not because you have the time or the desire to, but it is very important that you do for purposes of managing situations. So your ability to listen to your team sincerely is very important. What are their pain points? What would they like you to improve? What would they like to see change? And with the feedback here comes back the issue of consistency in implementation. Number one, if you say you will do A, please make sure you do it. Do not make promises unless you are absolutely sure that you can deliver. Because the moment the team starts to see that you are the person that when they say yes, it is yes, and no, it is no, they begin to trust you. They begin to bring you solutions, problems with solutions, and they know that we can rely on Anne. But then if you are the person who does a lot of PR and does not actually deliver anything, then the resistance here is going to be huge. So it boils down to communication. Of course, the feedback is tied to it, the consistency in terms of implementation, and your ability to listen to your team members and see how can you be of help, or where can you two meet. It is sometimes you need to negotiate a lot. And then there are times that your opinion must take the forefront. So you need to establish what works when. Richard?
Thank you so much, Anne, for that wonderful response. There's a question here by Maria, and I love it because I thought I could ask it, but she has read my mind. You are two. You are with Richard, and you are with Grace. You are with Anne, but one of you get picked. What are some of these things that people consider for promotion? What are these competencies that people will decide to say that it is Anne, it is either Richard, or it's Grace? That is the first question by Maria. And the other question is, you find yourself in a situation whereby you're training your boss and you do not get that position. The third question, how can she be persistent in getting a new job?
Okay. So now let me start with question number one that asked about what do they consider, what are the factors they look at for promotion? Now, there are organizations that do blanket promotions where they say after a certain period, you will be promoted to the next level or stuff like that. But then when you come back to the private sector, promotions and genuine promotions for that matter are based on a lot of factors. Number one, your skill set, your competencies at, you came in as a front office assistant in 2021. Over that time, you have been able to upskill yourself in terms of your academic qualifications. But aside from that, within the work environment itself, Anne is the kind of person that has been able to take up additional responsibilities, and they have shown that they have the capacity to move on to the next position. You see, somebody is always watching. I know that for a fact, because these promotions don't just drop from heaven. So it is your, in Kiswahili we will say ni bidii yako sometimes, So what are you doing to move, or rather to not remain in the same position that you have been in the last 5 years? Because I know there are people who have worked the same job for 10 years, which in my interpretation is generally 1 year experience for 10 years, However, over the last year, you came in as a clerk, an accounts clerk. You have been able to do your CPA. You have been able to learn how to do the payroll. You have been able to learn how to invoice clients. You have learned all these additional skills. Then the position for an accountant comes up. And you as Anne, you decide to apply for it without waiting for the company to see that Anne has been doing the most, let's promote her. No, you have taken it upon yourself to apply for that position and ask for an opportunity to defend yourself and say, these are the reasons why I think you guys should promote me and not hire somebody from the outside. So we have to remember promotions, when you sit back and just wait for the company to spot you so that they can promote you, you might find yourself waiting for a very long time. You have to learn to take the bull by its horns. See an opportunity and show up. Number two, the question on the other one is, how can you be persistent in getting a job? That was the third one. The second one, Richard, you'll remind me. But the third one was persistence in getting a job. Number one, you need to evaluate. How are you job searching? Number one. Because, and I speak as a recruiter because I review a lot of CVs in the process. And sometimes I look at CVs and I start wondering, is this person even serious? Because I am asking for the qualifications of an engineer, and you have applied for this role with the qualifications of an accountant. One is a technical job, and the other one is a mathematical job. One has nothing to do with the other. And I start wondering, I sit back and think this person is probably frustrated at home thinking, why am I not getting called for interviews? Nobody is going to call you because you are applying for the wrong jobs. So let your CV be able to reflect the asking for a HR manager role, and you have just graduated from the university. That position is not for you yet, because you need to learn the ground, as they put it, so that you can prepare yourself for that responsibility that you're hoping for. But then most of us, we want to jump on top of the tree. We do not want to climb it. So try climbing that tree. And that you are applying for are aligned with your skill set and of course your academic qualifications, and apply for as many of those jobs that you are competent in as possible. And then once you get called for an interview, please show up, not just physically, but show up like somebody who has been looking for a job and is actually looking to get hired. Because I see a lot of interviews where people they just show up physically so that you can see a little care. And then when you begin to speak to them, you do not understand why they are even there in the first place, because they are not showing effort. They are not trying to package themselves as the most suitable candidate and stuff like that. Richard, the question number 2 was on?
The question number 2 was, you will find yourself, you're the junior person, then you train somebody, and then this person gets promoted, and you're the one who has basically trained this person. Why should you do it? What attitude should you have that you're training somebody who's going to be promoted to a higher position?
I mean, it is natural for that to happen. It will happen in certain scenarios, but the question here is, once it has happened, what are you going to do about it? Because the person was not promoted because of anything that is against you. I would want to look at it that way, or whatever other politics that are in there. They were simply just promoted because the company that they have the capacity. So it is your role. Jealousy, feeling jealous, upset is very natural. So take time to feel jealous and take time to be upset, and then transition from there. Then once you are over your feelings, then you start to look at what other opportunities are there for me. But the problem comes in where we want to stick there and become so frustrated because Anne came in, I trained her, she got promoted, Richard came in, I trained her, she got promoted. Once it has happened like that, if it is the third person, the question now here is, what are you not doing right? Or is that really the place that you are supposed to be? Or the position that you are currently holding, is it really the position that you should hold? You understand? So these are natural things that are going to happen across our engagements. You will be passed over for a promotion and whatnot. But then once it has happened, you need to figure out how to move on from that point instead of being angry, because trust me, it is so tiring to be upset for that long. So if it gets to a point where you move on, also just make a decision and move on to other opportunities elsewhere. Richard.
Thank you. There is a question that I think is related to soft skills. I have been in rooms where certain CEOs mentioned that when you reach a certain level, technical skills do not matter so much. Soft skills start counting a lot. And that relates to the question by Jocelyn Arinaitwa, where you're writing an email and the next person that you're writing to does not respond. How do you avoid being rude? And I think this is where soft skills come in. The other question is, so that you do not have road rage. Actually, one of the things that I have seen in emotional intelligence is the role of our trigger points. How do we manage our trigger points so that we do not come out as rude, commanding, and professional? What is the use of soft skills?
Soft skills are very important in every role that we undertake, but we cannot get away with not having the technical skills. If you go to a hospital and the doctor is very kind and polite and they welcome you and then they have no idea how to be able to diagnose you or even to inject you or to, stuff like that. Do you really care about the soft skills, Richard? This is somebody who's going to kill you, right? So we need to be able to know where to draw the line of the soft skills bit and the technical skills. Those things, they work together. So you cannot, there are roles that require soft skills only. There are functions like that. But then there are functions that require the technical skills. An IT person, no matter how soft their skills are, they must have the technical know-how. You understand?
Yeah.
Now, what is the role of soft skills in this? We have people who are very qualified and very competent, but their attitude, how do I put it? The entitlement and sometimes the rudeness that comes out from when they express themselves, even as a recruiter, you will look at that and say, by the way, this one cannot work with people, so we can't hire them. I really don't care how good they are. But your ability to work with people is very important, unless, and I am coming back to IT people, if there are IT people in this forum, please, I feel attacked and forgive me. However, if you're only working with computers, you might get away with not having soft skills. But if you're interacting with people, you have to be able to know how to talk to people, how to be with people, how to generally relate with other human beings. I'm not saying into their houses. I'm just saying when we are at work, can we be able to be cordial with one another? So soft skills are very critical. Now, how do I respond to emails without having road rage? I think for HR people, road rage is something that is mandatory. It happens twice, 3 times a week. You have to have road rage, which is okay. However, how do you respond to these scenarios that test your patience? If I am writing an email and yes, the email has not found me very well. And when I read the issues that have been brought to my attention, first of all, from the facts that I have, they are not true. Secondly, the person is just talking a lot of things that, I mean, talking nonsense, if I can say that. How do you respond to that? That is not an email that needs to be responded to at that point when your rage is raging. Why is that? It is because when you respond to it at that time, you will be responding emotionally as opposed to the professional that you are. And that is why sometimes you read some of those emails and then you take a minute and say, let me go and fetch water or go to the bathroom or do whatever. And then you can come back and read it again. And you still get very angry and you decide, let me unread it and then I will come back to it. And I keep giving this example. It is 4:59 and you have received an email from your boss or a client or whatever, and they are telling you a lot of things that you are really not understanding. You are tempted to respond back and tell them to just get the hell out of your face. But you know, tomorrow, if you read that same email, trust me, it will not sound the same as it sounded at 4:59 because you are less angrier and you are more objective. You understand? So try to be able to manage your emotions, and you do not have to react all the time. And also there are some times when you have to talk to somebody and you tell them, by the way, there's this email I have received and I was thinking, what are your thoughts about it? Somebody you trust, you don't need to talk to everybody. And then you will get a different perspective, you know. And this happens, and in our work with Grace, there are instances where these scenarios come up and I'm just like, Grace, there's an email there from so-and-so. I have seen what they have said. But if I respond there, that client is going to terminate that assignment. So please do respond because, you know, and that is acceptable because it gives you time also to cool off and to think about things differently. Richard?
Thank you so much. We are short of time, but there are two questions here by Rebecca Tino.
Yes.
She's asking instances where there are no opportunities for career growth. And the other one is by Muna. She's asking where you're being attacked and you want to remain the most professional or the adult, so to speak. So those are the last questions as you prepare for your parting shots.
All right. There are no opportunities for growth. The reality of the workspace in Kenya right now is that organizations are becoming leaner and leaner. And when you get into an organization, if you are getting into Safaricom is a very branches everywhere. And you know, you might move from this position to that and to that and to that. And then you start up where it is the CEO and then there's you. So unless the CEO hands over that opportunity to you, then there are no chances of growth there. Then what happens in that scenario? Number one, you need to define growth. Because traditionally, we have thought that growth opportunities in a workspace is being promoted from HR assistant to HR officer to HR whatever. You understand? But we find ourselves in scenarios where the HR officer is the senior most person. So what does growth look like in your book? If it is change of job titles, then you need to be able to find an organization that provides you with that. If it is additional responsibilities, then you need an organization that can provide you with that. If it is financial addition or growth, then you need to be able to find an organization that offers that. But of importance is that you must define growth. Do not think that growth all the time means I will move from this position to the next. It does not happen most of the time because of the lean structure of how organizations are currently operating. The second question, the last one you said was what,
You want to
Richard?
be an adult in a very frustrating environment. I'm sure it relates to emotional intelligence because you're being attacked by people who do not believe in you, and you want to be the adult, quote unquote. Yeah.
Just be the adult. If you have the grace to be the adult, you should be the adult and maintain your professionalism. But I can tell you for a fact, everybody has a tipping point. There is a day that is going to come when everything hits the roof, and those people will see the other side of you that they have not seen. But before it gets there, just be the adult. I don't know what to say that, but emotional intelligence here is key. But also at the same time, we have, I don't know how many people have a vent partner. Somebody that you can go to at the end of one of those days that all the emails have not found you very well. And you just talk and talk and talk and talk, and then you tell them, so that is all I wanted to say. I am not looking for your advice. I just needed to, talk. It is important to have that person in your life. That is your therapist that you don't pay money to. For those people who do not have therapists, somebody that you can be able to discuss professional challenges with, because we only assume that we can only talk about personal challenges with other people. Professionally, you have to find somebody at your level that you can be able to talk about these frustrations with, and also hear from them, how are they dealing with, and these networks that I was talking about. Sometimes when we attend those HR networks and people just sit over lunch, I can tell you the level of venting that is on those tables. You cannot imagine. But somebody is just trying to let out what they are feeling, and also hear from other people, how are they handling these kinds of scenarios? Because from there, you'll be able to learn and see how to do things differently. But otherwise, if it becomes too much and unbearable, nobody is tied to any employer, any company, unless it is yours. And even yours, sometimes it gets to a point where you say enough is enough. But I keep saying to one of my gym partners, it is not death. You do not have to die there, If it becomes too much and you cannot take it anymore. I know there are hundreds or thousands of other employers here that are looking for the kind of skill set that you have. You have just not found. As soon as you start searching, trust me, one of them will be there to receive you. Richard.
Thank you so much, Anne. Under 30 seconds, you will prepare your parting shot. It has been a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful discussion. We have gained insights that we can apply to our work situation on how to behave when we have been promoted as people who have not been promoted, as people who have been promoted. You've done an amazing job. Thank you so much. The audience, you are wonderfully and beautifully made for giving us your ears and your time. That is important. We respect you, we appreciate you, and that is why you should come to Mombasa on that date that has been said by Grace, so that you can get a therapist. There's a lot of therapy in Mombasa. You can get somebody. That is why, ladies and gentlemen, you should come to Mombasa, I think next month, so that you can enjoy the ocean and also new perspectives on how to manage your career and your organization. Parting shot, unless Grace, there is something else to say. Parting shot under 3 seconds, because we have gone almost 6 minutes past our usual time.
All right. I think Grace and her internet, I think they decided to exit. So just to close on this, I would want to say that promotion is a very beautiful thing that happens to us, and not very usually. It happens not all the time. And when you find yourself in that higher position, own it. Own it because you have earned it. And I like I said, for people who have actually earned it, because it will not happen all the time, not in every organization that you work with. And number two, assert yourself. Let the people that you work with understand the new responsibilities that have been assigned to you in this new role. Do not do it forcefully, do not do it rudely, but do it in a manner that reflects the new role that you have and the expectations that have been set. There is going to be a lot of new situations that you have not dealt with before. There are going to be a lot of mistakes that happen in the process of learning. There are going to be changes that you must adapt to. Stay curious, stay creative, stay flexible. And all the best in your promotion. If you are currently looking for an opportunity to be promoted, please do not sit back and wait for the company to notice you. Sometimes they will not. Most of the time they will not, because companies would like to operate with cheap labor. So promotion means additional expense. If you see an opportunity that you think you are fit to fill, apply for that. Write to your HR and tell them the reasons as to why you think you need to be promoted to that role. And be very confident in your defense. And sure, once you have been promoted, do not remain complacent. Keep learning, keep building yourself and becoming a better version of yourself, and all the best. Thank you so much to the team for listening this evening. Thank you so much, Richard, for being here. And thank you so much for Atara for asking for me to join this session as a presenter today. And have yourselves a lovely evening, everybody. Thanks. Richard,
Thank you so
over to
much.
you.
Thank you so much for having created time. Do not
Richard,
forget.
the link to the WhatsApp you have sent to me, you need to put it on the entire, to everyone.
Oh, sorry. Anne, if you can be able to pick it and share it, sorry. You can be able to pick it and share it. Thank you so much. We have appreciated your discussion. Let us meet on Tuesday for another wonderful, informative, and very transformative discussion. And as we always say, keep it right with Atara Solutions. When you want HR consultancy, think of Atara Solutions. When you want training, when you want team building, think of Atara Solutions. Ladies and gentlemen, good night until Tuesday. You are beautifully and wonderfully made. Good night.
Thank you, Richard. For those who are joining us for the first time, please join our WhatsApp group, like our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel where the recording for this session will be uploaded. Asante sana, Richard. I don't even have music. My internet is a mess.
It's all right. It's all right.
For those who are asking for the link, somehow I'm not able to post to everyone. I can only send to the attendees. If you can send me an email, I'll be able to share. My email is the one that was used, grace@sarasolutions.co.ke. If you're able to access the Q&A, I have put one of the replies or answer to one of the questions is a link to WhatsApp. Please check. Thank you, Jacinta.